Hey everybody, this is Craig with Crypto BS. I just wanted to do a quick weekend update for everybody. We've had a lot of fun experiences in the market this week, myself especially. If you listened to our last episode, you remember that Alan and I had a mini challenge within our larger challenge to invest just 10 USDT into our our shitcoin, for lack of a better term, and just see which one of us was right on picking between Gari and Burger. And if you remember, my reasoning for not choosing Gari was that there's all the news that came out against it that dropped the price from 80 cents a token down to, I believe it was 2 cents. And then it had pumped up to 19 and then was back down to 15 at the time that we talked about it. Meanwhile, Burger, that is still another coin that I don't love, it had moved up pretty significantly from, let's see, let me pull up the chart here. It had moved from the 56 cent range up into, at the time, it was about $1.60, $1.70 or so. And I didn't like either of them, but I chose Burger. Now, I want to take this opportunity to first say I'm winning. Burger is at 253 and Gari has went down to about 13 cents. But really, I wanted to take a time on this episode to talk about, some strategies I'm doing outside of the challenge and the lessons learned from those. So my role in the challenge, I'm playing a more conservative role, and I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking slow growth. I'm not trying to swing too big just yet. And I've put most of my money into Bitcoin, into a bot for Bitcoin, and now this 10 USDT into Burger. But outside of that, I like to take much more risk. And I look at these coins like Burger, like Gari, like Shiba and Luna Classic, the ones that I really don't believe in, and I love to short them, especially in this market where we think everything's going down. So I have two examples for you. I'll go through the scenario and we'll talk about what I saw, what I experienced, and strategies I used to end up ahead. Because they're by far not the most perfect trading stories, which I think most of us will relate to. So in the first one, let's start with Burger, because I've talked about it a bit already. We did our last podcast and it was around the 160 range. I didn't think it was going up. I just thought it was going to go down less than Gari. And I'm looking at this. It was at 56 cents, goes up into the let's see this candlestick here. This is a high of, 139, back down, and then up to about 205 and on its way back down. I see a coin that's pumped twice. It's a coin that I don't believe in a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of volume to it, so it's going to swing a bit more. And I'm saying, let's short this. So I short it at $1.60, I think $1.60, $1.62. And boy, does it pump up. It did not go down. It went all the way up to $3 or $2.99. Now, this is why it's very important, and is a classic example of you need to have a plan, and you need to scale in, and you need to be patient. Those are three of our big rules here. And so the plan out the gate was, I'm not going to leverage this. KuCoin lets me leverage it up to 3x. I'm not leveraging 3x out the gate. I'm going to start with about 1x on my leverage, and I'm going to short it. And if it goes down, I'll take my small profit and let that be. If it goes up, I'm going to have to scale in, right? And that's exactly what it did. It pumped up massively. So I'm not right away. Like I'm not being impatient and just taking my loss and pulling out because it's going up. I'm waiting to see where it's going to be and if I need to allocate more funds into this margin account to make sure I don't get liquidated along the way. And that was a risk I was willing to take because, like I said, this thing has pumped. It's a lower volume coin. I don't believe in it at all. And the RSI values are off the chart. I believe at the time, after the second pump especially, we were looking at 80 plus RSI on the 15-minute candlesticks, on the 1 hour, the 4 hour. I think even the 1 day was shooting pretty high up in the 70s. So, when I saw the price start to come back down, there was a pretty large red candle that was forming. That was when I re-entered. I put another 1x, so I'm at 2x leverage on this, and I scaled my way in to bring my average up. I believe my second one was at 234 ish. That sounds about right, about 234. And it brought my average down to about 190. That sounds right. 192 would be it. And with that, now I'm not having to wait for it to come all the way back down to the 160 to break even. I can settle somewhere in the middle. I just need a good pullback to break even and get some. And with this, I also have a plan. Now that I have more money in, definitely don't want to be liquidated. I'm putting my stop limit buys in on this short. I'm putting them back up at like 305 so that if it hits a new high and it can definitely pump up higher, I want to get out. I'm just taking my loss at that point. It's pumped twice. It's looking at a third pump. I don't want any part of that. So I have my stop limit put in place as a safeguard. I also have my limit buy at the bottom end. I break even at 190, so I put it a little bit lower than that just so I can get a little bit out of it. I don't want to do all this work for nothing. Plus, I have interest on the loan to pay. So I'm putting my limit buy just below that to make sure that, if this dumps at night when I'm sleeping, I'm not going to miss it. So you have to have that plan. You have to give yourself some room to scale in, and you got to be patient. And those scenarios played out the way they did, and it worked. I had a nice dip, and then it bounced off this bottom, and life was good. I was out of that madness. I'm looking at it right now. It's actually looking like it may do a double top, so I'm definitely watching for my personal account outside of the challenge to be short in that again. I think Burger is a prime candidate to double top and just drop back down. It's 254, 255 now. I could easily see it coming down and testing that mental $2 range. So if you want to short it, even at 100 Burger, you're talking about $250 that you're going to have to leverage or borrow. And, back down to 2, you make 50 cents off of it. So not a bad trade. The other example we have is back with Luna Classic. So Luna Classic is going to die off. I believe it 100% with all my heart. Luna Classic gonna die. And we had seen Luna Classic, of course, go from its $50+ range down to under a cent, down to under a tenth of a cent, and was looking like it was just going into the graveyard. And then we had a pump. I don't remember what it was. I want to say it had to be 50-60% in a day. And it was the same exact scenario with Burger all over again. This actually happened before Burger. I'm doing this opposite chronologically, but it's the same story. It's the same story of something not going your way and still being able to take a small profit at the end of the day because you had a plan and you scaled in and you were patient and you set these limit and stop limit orders to save yourself. And it was the same thing. Like I said, it pumped up. I shorted it. It pumped up again. I scaled in again. I doubled up on my short to bring my average up. I had my limit set all along the way. And then it finally came back down and I got to make a little bit of profit off of it. Now, best case scenario, right? You're hoping that the first short hits and you just take your money and go. But you need to have those plans in place so that when things don't go your way, like both of these examples, you can still come out ahead. You still have a way to come out ahead. If I had went into Burger and just 3x'd it, saying there's no way this is going up higher, this is doomed to come back down, and I 3x'd it and it went up, I have no way to scale in more. I mean, I'd have to put more money into the margin account, and then I have more money at risk, and now I'm taking even bigger swings on something I don't believe in that's acting erratically. It's just not the way to go. You need to put a set amount of money in that margin account, money that you're willing to lose if things go south. Definitely not your entire account, and just have a plan to scale in with that. And don't be afraid. Like I said, I came in at Burger at $1.60 and it went all the way up to $2.99. I mean, you're looking at almost double what I was in. And in that scenario, it's easy to get scared and say, boy, I might have been really wrong. And I've been liquidated before. It's not the first time. But I'm not putting all my money in there to get liquidated either. I'm putting an amount that I feel comfortable losing if things were to go wrong, betting that I'm going to hit many more times than I miss because of these strategies. So as we're looking, I'll go ahead and give a few that I'm looking at. Of course, I already mentioned Burger. It's looking like it may have double topped and coming back down. So I'm keeping an eye on it. We're kind of in this weird space right now where we don't know what Bitcoin is doing, and Bitcoin can very much drive the whole market up and down. So I'm trying to be patient on my entry, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing with Burger. Another one that I've kept my eye on, really I'll just scroll through these coins on the margin to see what I can short and which ones are moving more than others. And QNT is up at 75.89, and it was at 48.49. When was that? That was on June 30th. So 9 days ago, it was almost half the price. It's up significantly. It's had up. These Bollinger Bands are spreading out. The RSI on the 4-hour candlesticks, we're looking at 74. On the 1 day, we're looking at 69. On the 1 hours, 62. 15 minutes, 62. So when this 15-minute and 1 hour stick starts pushing up into that 70 range with the rest of them, I mean that's looking really solid. And we're looking at a little bit, as I stare at this 15-minute candlestick chart, we're looking at a little bit of a resistance here. So I may even just play this line and see what happens if it can break out and retest and go up. I'll wait longer. If it pulls back pretty significantly off the support, I may just enter there. But QNT is one I'm definitely looking at. And the other one is ICP. ICP is having some fun in this low $7 range. It's another one where not too long ago, it had a low of 528. It pumped up into the mid sixes, pulled back a little bit for a breather, back down into the low sixes, and then pumped up to 746. And now we're sitting at 703. And it's been really flat from here. Bollinger Bands are constricting pretty heavily. RSI isn't really on that buy point or the short point yet. You know, on the 15s, we're looking at 54. 54 is nothing, right? That's right in the middle. On the hour, it's 60. But you zoom out a little bit, you know, you're looking at 4-hour candlesticks. It's at 80. I mean, that's up there. And that's a result of it moving sideways. That's a result of the flatter movement in the shorter candlesticks. That RSI is gonna even out a bit. But you zoom out, you know, even further to a day, and you know, 62 on the RSI there. So if we can get another day or two candlestick of this moving up, I think it's time for a breather. I think it's time to short. So that's what I'm looking at. That's the stories and my experiences that hopefully can help you guys do better trading and make some more money. And that's my little weekend update. You guys take care. We'll see you next time.